SportsBeat KC, the Kansas City Star's daily sports podcast. It's Thursday, August 6th, and I'm Blair Kirchhoff. Thursday marked the deadline for NFL players to opt out of this season, and by late morning, the Chiefs had a third player choose that path. Lucas Niang, an offensive lineman from TCU who was the Chiefs' third-round pick in April, won't be part of this season. We don't yet have a statement from Niang or the Chiefs for the reason, and I'm sure that'll happen soon, but Niang follows guard Laurent Duvernay-Tardif and running back Damian Williams in opting out this season. Duvernay-Tardif and Williams were starters. Niang played tackle at TCU, but was working at guard to become a candidate to take Duvernay-Tardif's spot. The Chiefs have options at guard. They signed Pro Bowler Kelechi Osemele and Mike Remmers, and also have in the fold Andrew Wiley, Ryan Hunter, and Nick Allegretti. On today's show, we're going to hear from one of those candidates. In fact, the person I believe who will end up being a starting guard, Kelechi Osemele. He met the media earlier this week. Also, you'll hear from defensive end Frank Clark. This is the first time we've had a chance to talk to the always interesting Clark since the Super Bowl. He had plenty to say about how the Chiefs are preparing for the 2020 season. But first, here's Kelechi Osemele, the likely starter, who's been a Pro Bowler, an All-Pro, and owns a Super Bowl ring, which he won with the Baltimore Ravens as a rookie in 2012. And folks in our part of the country will remember he attended Iowa State. So let's get started with Osemele, and then after a break, you'll hear from Frank Clark.
Hey, Kelechi, welcome to Kansas City, man.
Appreciate it.
Hey, a two-part question here for you. You obviously played for Coach Andy Reid, and you had experience with them at the Pro Bowl in 2017. What stood out to you the most working out with them? And then the second part to that is, how much of that contributed to your decision to play here in Kansas City?
Yeah, what stood out to me the most is they were so relaxed. Like, they were just so, loose. They were just out there having fun, cracking jokes and stuff like that in the huddle. So I liked how loose they were. And then they would just go out and make plays. So that was, dope to see. I kind of came from places where everybody was just really, serious all the time. So that was, real cool. That kind of tied into it, my decision coming here. Coach Reid, just with his ability to drop these crazy plays, seeing that firsthand, that was dope. So yeah, that was a big part of what brought me here.
Let's go to Bob Fesco. Go ahead, Bob.
You've had the opportunity to play behind, or not play behind, but, play on the other side of the field of Patrick Mahomes. Now you get the opportunity to play with him. What have you seen so far from Patrick, and what's it going to be like to play with the MVP?
It's been crazy, man. It's been crazy seeing him at practice, just casually throwing the ball 70 yards, just flicking it. That's been crazy to see. He's got a lot of talent, and his speed as well, just on option plays and stuff like that. Also his intelligence, and all the different cadences that he rattles through, and checking the audibles and stuff like that. For a guy that young to have command like that, his confidence is pretty impressive for how young he is. That's been pretty cool to see firsthand up close.
Let's go to Len Jennings. Go ahead, Len.
Kelechi, thanks for joining us. More on Mahomes. He has a knack to improvise back there. Does that, and being a veteran like yourself, does that kind of change or force you to kind of change your style or your game, that maybe something you're not used to, or have you had some experience with guys who are mobile and like to improvise like that?
I've had a little bit of experience with guys that are mobile. When I was in Baltimore with my backup quarterback, I had a pretty athletic guy back there. And I had a little bit of experience with Sam. He's faster than people think. He'd scramble around a little bit as well. And obviously Derek is a guy that's pretty athletic and likes to move around and likes to get outside of the pocket and make plays. So I've had a few quarterbacks that scramble around and do that. It makes it fun because you get to react. You're blocking your guy. You kind of see his eyes light up and him drop back. So you get to be the aggressor, which I kind of like to do in pass pro. So it actually makes it a little bit more fun and exciting. You're not just sitting back and, standing or whatever and just sitting there. anything can happen at any moment. And to me, like, that makes it the game more fun and makes it more exciting. So it's going to be fun to be back there with a playmaker like that, knowing that the play can get extended and we can end up running outside of the pocket and I can pick up like an extra blocker or catch somebody, hit somebody trying to jump, put his hands in the air or something like that. So I'm excited about it.
Let's go to Blair Kirchhoff. Go ahead, Blair.
Hey, I just want to know where you were, what you were doing, and what was your reaction when you found out it was the Chiefs?
So this offseason, I was training in San Diego with a guy that was primarily like jiu-jitsu and mixed martial arts and stuff like that, working on core and leverage and stuff, building that type of strength. And then came back up to San Francisco to put some weight back on. I got down to like 290 and then go back up to 310, started like the heavy squats and stuff like that, conditioning, running on the beach. I was actually at the park with my girlfriend and got the call. It was somebody's birthday party. So I kind of like had to walk somewhere and get somewhere quiet. And I was pretty excited. I was fired up. I mean, obviously, like the first thing I thought of was playing with Mahomes. And then I actually accidentally leaked his phone number because I had like the Instagram or whatever. I did a video and it had his number out there and I had to like take it down real quick. But I was so excited I didn't even think about it. I was pretty hyped. My agent called me, instantly the first thing I thought about was this is a really good team. We got a chance to win a championship. I haven't won one in, I think it's been 8 seasons since my rookie year. So I thought immediately like this would be a beautiful way to, kind of cap off a long NFL career. So those were all the thoughts that were going through my head.
Let's go to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, thanks for taking some time. So your signing came very shortly after Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, the right guard, opted out. I know that you have a ton of experience at left guard. Have the Chiefs talked to you at all about maybe the position along the line that you will play? Do you have a preference? Do you feel comfortable if they wanted you to go to right guard, you could do it? I was just curious where you stand on that.
Yeah, I'm pretty open. When I came into this game, I was a tackle. I never played guard in my life. So, I'm pretty open. They've kind of just said I'm going to be in the rotation. I'm learning the playbook right now, obviously. There's a lot of wrinkles to learn, but in any way, shape, or form I'm able to help, I'm excited to just do my part, and help a franchise that knows how to win continue to do so.
Let's go to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Kelechi, it's nice to meet you. In getting with an offensive line that's pretty veteran savvy, particularly on the tackles with Eric and Mitchell, just from watching the Chiefs and kind of getting an idea of what the playbook is, how much can you build chemistry right now before you do sort of more on the field practice work? And then what about the Chiefs, when you looked at their offensive line last year, do you feel like you can translate your skills to in terms of helping them become and stay a top offense?
So I would say in terms of building chemistry, we're here, 7, 8 a.m. until, 6 p.m. And so we're around each other all the time, cracking jokes, sharing music, just hanging out, lifting weights and stuff like that. So that's kind of how we're building our chemistry right now. In terms of what I've seen with those guys, technically sound, two of the most technically sound tackles I've seen play the game. And I've been around the game for a while, and I'd say they're really high up there in terms of their technique. They're very consistent. That's something that I definitely need to work on to get on that type of level. So that's something that I need to, I can learn from them. But I think what I bring to it is the physicality, the finish, the aggression. That's definitely what I bring to the table. So hopefully I can learn from them and they can learn from me in terms of that type of intensity, especially on Sundays.
All right, looks like we got a couple more guys. Let's go Matt, Derek, and then we'll finish with Danny. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, welcome to Kansas City. Curious, how are you feeling, particularly with the shoulder from last year? And, is coming to Kansas City and this group kind of a breath of fresh air after your experience with New York last year?
I'm feeling pretty great. I think we had bench the other day. I put up 375 for 5 on my last set. So I'm feeling strong, feeling like my old self. In terms of coming back here, it's definitely a breath of fresh air to be back here. I played my college career out here at Iowa State, a couple hours away. So it's good to be around the nice people of the Midwest again. So that's been pretty cool, and getting to link up with all my college friends and stuff like that. That's been pretty cool. In terms of the whole Jets situation, I'm just kind of glad that I can put that behind me right now and just focus on being here and being part of an organization like this. I'm definitely looking forward to moving on and to that next chapter of my career and winning some football games.
Okay, let's go to Danny to close us out. Go ahead, Danny.
Hi, it's nice to meet you. Welcome to Kansas City. Okay, so we've talked to Andy a lot about how this offseason and how weird it is really the toughest on linemen. So when it comes to like timing and footwork, to kind of build on Nate's question, how do you overcome that? And especially without a preseason, how do you get all the timing and chemistry together on the offensive line?
So the way we've been doing it is with individual drills. Obviously, we have the other linemen line up against us, and we work on timing, we work on punching, on pass sets and stuff like that, and on combos. So we just do that with bags. Obviously, that's different than doing that against a live person that's going to move out of the way. But right now, that's how we're doing it. And we have a pretty veteran group, so everybody pretty much generally knows like how to slide, how to set, how to punch. So it's been pretty good so far. And these guys have all been together for a while now. So it's really like, when I'm in there, I just kind of like get the energy from them. I kind of see how they set and what their technique is, and then I just kind of match that. So that's how it's been working so far.
Hey, it's Blair. We have a special subscription offer for SportsBeat KC listeners, unlimited digital access to the Kansas City Star's award-winning sports coverage. Sign up now for 1 year of Sports Pass for access to all the sports news, features, and columns presented on the kansascity.com site, and it's only $30. That's a 40% savings off our regular rate. Your subscription will automatically renew after the initial term at $50 unless you tell us to cancel. Your subscription helps support the sports coverage of kansascity.com and the Kansas City Star, and that support has never been more important. Please visit kansascity.com/SportsBeatKC offer to get this special offer. And as always, thanks for listening.
Hey, Frank, how you doing?
Doing well. How you doing, man?
Good, thanks. Hey, just wanted to see what your off season was like, and also what's on the table for you to prove this season.
Oh man, I had a wonderful off season. Kind of untraditional with everything that's been going on, with the COVID and stuff like that. But just try to stay focused as possible. And they closed a lot of gyms and stuff where I was at, where I trained out in Los Angeles. But was able to do a lot of good things still, and focus on training, just a lot more time to spend with my family and, with people who I hadn't necessarily, had time to catch up with over the years. A lot more time to handle some business and stuff like that. We had played a lot of football, winning the Super Bowl. So a lot of, that extra time to focus on some of the stuff off the field. So, that was the dopest part about the offseason.
Let's go to Bob Fesco. Go ahead, Bob.
Hey, Frank, I just want to kind of know, as you're one of the team leaders out there, what's the ability for you guys to hold everybody accountable for doing the right things away from the facility, seeing what, the Hunt family and everybody invested in to you guys to have the facility up and running the way it is for the COVID stuff?
Oh, man, shouts out to them because, we walk around. You guys haven't really been able to see, but we walk around. They've done a magnificent job, from the top to the bottom, and just every day, providing us with a safe and, a safe and energetic, learning community, basically, for us to come in and be able to, sit in class and sit in, go on the field and be able to produce and practice in the safe, community. And I feel like that's been most important. There's been so many questions about, the safety of our players, safety of the coaches, us having to go home and stuff. And I just, feel like, everybody over here in our building, they just done an excellent job and, providing us with a, like I said, a safe community for us to work in.
Let's go to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, what's up, Frank? Good. I wonder if you could backtrack a little bit to 12 months ago. You had come in, you hadn't played for the Chiefs yet, but you had signed a big contract. So I'm wondering about the mental aspect that maybe it's different this year, if maybe it's a little bit more relaxed. And then also physically, it was around this time or maybe a couple of weeks later that you started dealing with that pinched nerve. So just if you could compare the mental and physical aspects of what you're feeling right now compared to this time last year.
Man, I feel excellent. Of course, you're going to go through stuff, being a football player, you're going to always feel little nicks and stuff like that. But, I'm not feeling that pinched nerve, and I feel like that's the most important thing right now for me. Had a slow start last year. I wouldn't say, I'm always play through it. I don't give excuses. I really don't care about excuses and stuff like that. But I had a slow start. I had some things hold me back, and I was so adamant about getting back. If you was around me at all last year, if you spent some time in that locker room as one of the media guys, you know how adamant I was about just getting back and how much I wanted to heal up as fast as I could, and try to do some things faster than what God had it planned for us. So, but things came around when it did, and I stayed focused on treatment. Shout out to our treatment room. They do an excellent job of like I said, getting us back out on that field. And but the other part is your part. You got to be at treatment. You got to focus. You got to take it all in, understand what they're trying to do to get you back. And that's all I did. I bought into what they were telling me. You got to trust your trainers at some point and understand they want the best for you. And I did that. And I was able to get back out there and help my team win the Super Bowl.
Let's go to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Frank. Good to see you. I wanted to ask you, for the guys that are returning on defense, obviously I know you're happy with Chris being with you and obviously having a relationship with Tyron and those guys. Now that you all are together, what are the conversations been like on what you all want to accomplish in the second part of this, sort of defensive run? And then adding a new guy like Taco in, just how eager are you to see what he does in this defense, and how much have you tried to sort of get him accustomed to, obviously, unusual circumstances in the building, but getting more, used to the new guys around him?
Yeah. Honestly, Taco is a fun, energetic type of guy to be around. But going off what you at first asked, it's just with me and Tyron and, some of the other guys, you got Hitch, you got, it's a host of guys, who are leaders on that defensive side. But, me and Tyron, the main thing is, man, just staying in tune with each other. I feel like that's the biggest thing that happens when guys have success. Guys go win a Super Bowl. You got prima donnas. You got this guy wanting to go off and do this. You got different guys coming to work with different mindsets. They're not focused on the one goal, and that's to win the championship. And I feel like that's where our strength is, and we haven't wavered from that. Just having that short memory. Yeah, we won the Super Bowl last year, but that was last year. Some guys get, cocky. They love that feeling. They love the emotions of winning it and carry that on the next year. And they don't really do shit for them, on the field for this year. Honestly, us being champions last year, nobody cares about that. I know our coach don't care about that. That's all fun. That's nice. It's pretty nice. It's cute and all, but, we got stuff to do this year and a whole new set of goals. We got to win the AFC championship, and that's where it starts.
Let's go to Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Frank, kind of a similar question, actually, but you guys were the best defense in the NFL from week 11 basically through the end of the year. With guys like you and Tyron and the leaders you have on this team, what gives you confidence you guys can be the best defense in the NFL to start this season?
And just our ability to work and practice. I feel like that's where we beat every team. Can't give them too much, but you guys know we out there flying around, having fun, and challenging each other. I feel like it's a lot of competition. When you got guys that's coming in to work day in, day out, whether it's pushing you to be the best at your position or be the best on defense or be the best you can be offensively or be the best teammate you can be for the guys who are not playing necessarily. Those guys' roles are just as important as, the guys out there running around on the field. I couldn't run around on the field, and do what I do if I didn't have my boys on the sideline or those guys who I'm in practice working hard with every day. If I didn't have those guys pushing me to be better than what I am.
Let's go to James Palmer. Go ahead, James.
Hey, Frank, hope you're doing well, man. Kind of two parts to this. When you guys go over what you want to do schematically, how much do you look at different pressures you guys are working on now that you probably in year one couldn't even probably maybe get to? Is it expanding in that sense of what you guys can do to bring pressure to the quarterback? And then also with Chris coming back and you and him, how does his play impact what you see from a tackle, and how do you impact kind of what Chris does when you guys go over film?
Man, that's a good question. But it's kind of simple. It's an easy answer. It's a great question, but an easy answer. When you start asking questions about me and Chris, I get a nice smile come over my face, I guess, because that's my dog. I'm so happy he got paid and stuff. was able to come back, you know, with all those type of things. But just so happy, man. And, you know, with Chris, you know, he's a smart player. You know, he's so fun to be around, you know, off the field and even on the field. But he's such a smart player, and he seems like he just gets better and better. You know, I remember watching film on Chris when, you know, I was a younger player, probably 3 or whatever, and he just a year behind me, really. And watching him, and I'm like, wow, who's this young guy? You know what I mean? You're a beast. And, you know, finally getting the chance to get out here, get acclimated with the system and to be able to play with him. You know, last year was just, it was great. And now, you know, we talk all the time, and we look at each other and we understand, you know, what's asked of us. We understand the type of pressure that's put on players like us. But, you know, we embrace it too. You know, it's all fun. It's fun. Like I tell him, you know, have fun with it. You know, don't let it stress you out too much. And he tell me the same, like, we're going to be the best, you know, 2 defensive linemen ever to play the game together. And that's one of the things we always talk about. You know, we got, you know, a few years to do something great. You know, this is the reality of the game. You know, you got a few years in that window to do something great and to be the greatest you can be at doing it. And why not do it? And to piggyback on your other answer, just about the defense. You know, we just constantly just staying fresh, man. You buy in the pressures and stuff. Pressure is nice. You know, I love 4-man pass rushes, though. You know, I tell my linebackers they can drop back there and get off the way. They be in the way sometimes.
Let's go to Danny Welniak. Go ahead, Danny.
Hi, Frank. How you doing, man?
Good on, Danny.
Good. So Andy Reid talks a lot about how the preseason is vital for the offense to get timing down before you go into the regular season. But how much does not having preseason games impact defense, and how do you guys have to change your mentality as you go into the regular season without those, like, scrimmage games?
Man, well, the biggest thing from what I understand as you know, being younger and the more time I was playing in the preseason is just the development part. I feel like that's a huge, you know, development period that the rookies are going to miss. You know, I was telling someone today, like, man, it's kind of going to be untraditional this year because, you know, y'all missing a huge part of the game. And that was that. Really, it's that after you get drafted, it's that first acclimation period, you know, introducing them to the NFL. Then you got to go to training camp and stuff like that. Like, they missed a lot of it. So it's like, y'all got to really understand that y'all work is going to come from practice. It's going to come from training camp. It's going to come from really locking in and understanding this film, because y'all not going to have an acclimation period like the preseason where it's, you know, quote unquote, you know, the competition level is the same. And, you know what I mean? Going right into the fire, basically. You know, you're going to a league where you got a 12-year pro, all-pro who you might be going against, and you got to be ready for them. Just simple as put. I mean, I first got in the league, I had to be prepared for Trent Williams, Jason Peters, and all these type of dudes all within the first 4 or 5 weeks of my season. I'm just looking at myself like, wow, that's going to be a long year. You know, I understood that. But if you embrace it, you know, tell them simply, welcome to the present.
We've got time for one more, guys. Let's go to Darren. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, Frank, thank you, first of all, for joining us, man. And, you know, my question steers away from the football field, but obviously you know, it touched you, obviously, to pay for the funeral of Legion Talifero. And I want to know, like, what went into your thought process, and how much more active will we see players like you inside the Kansas City community? Because this happened just 6 blocks from where I live here in Kansas City. So I want to know, you know, like, have you talked with other players, and how with Patrick's voter registration, will you all be instrumental in the 3rd and 5th district here in Kansas City where voter registration and voter suppression will be taking place come November?
Yes, man, that's crazy you mentioned that about voting. Actually, I'm going to get back to the other part, but that's crazy you mentioned that about voting because as far as Kansas City Chiefs are concerned, our staff has been very active in just, you know, helping us get registered if you're not registered voting in the state, or whether you're an absentee voter, and just explaining the language. Some guys don't understand the language of voting, you know, one, because they never really talked about it, they've never been comfortable talking about it to somebody, but it's so important, I feel like. And then just coming up with this you know, this voting mark is just so important for the younger people who, you know, are able to vote, who've never voted, or, you know, probably look at it like, oh, it's not that serious, or my vote don't count. I feel like it's very important for you to get out there and understand who you're voting for. You know, do some research and understand the candidates and everything, you know, because, you know, don't do it by popular demand on what you read on Instagram and TV, because sometimes that can affect the outcome of our country in the years to come. But on the other note with, my young boy, man, it's sad because you got, growing up in the inner city community, man, I had plenty of nights where I had to, duck some bullets, they shot my house up twice, 2 days back to back growing up in inner city Los Angeles. And they shot our house up twice back to back in 1 week. And I remember being a kid laying down on the couch and my auntie putting me on the carpet and, seeing bullets fly through my house. Then the next day seeing it again and then watching my uncle get shot. And then, fast forward and then the story comes out about Lee John and what's going on with that. It's like, come on, somebody had to be there and I just had it on my mind. I don't like credit for stuff like that because it's just naturally me. But somebody had to do it. Somebody had to be there. Would I challenge other people to step up and do things like that? I don't know. Like I said, it's just me. It's just whether they step up or not. I feel like I'm always do things like that. That's just pure. I got a pure heart. And when things like that happen, and I don't see nothing taking. Nobody taking action or, it's not really being talked about. It touches me somewhere. That's really what happened.
Frank, we appreciate you taking the time today. Hopefully we get to talk to you soon.
I appreciate y'all.
That'll do it for today. Thanks to our production staff of Derek Donovan, Randy Mason, Beth Welsh, Jeff Rosen, Chris Fickett, and Savannah Smith. Links to stories about the Chiefs can be found in the show notes and on kansascity.com. Hey, earlier in the episode, you heard me talk about the Sports Pass offer, $30 for a year's worth of sports coverage, and that includes the Sports Extra that comes with the e-edition. There are more than 40 additional pages of national sports coverage today. Here's an even better offer. Buy the entire Kansas City Star product. Sports, news, features, commentary, analysis, the whole thing. You get all the stories written by my talented colleagues, plus additional news, sports, and business coverage. The details can be found at account.kansascity.com/subscribe. That's account.kansascity.com/subscribe. And whether it's the Sports Pass or the full subscription, you're getting and supporting the best sports and news coverage in Kansas City and helping us produce programs like SportsBeat KC. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back on Friday with another episode.